Now, the long-awaited ANC Youth League conference kicks off today in Johannesburg, and it's been 8 long years since the league came together in this particular fashion. This is after it was disbanded in 2019. To discuss this and what we might expect from this weekend's conference, we're joined by political analyst Yolokazi Mfuto. Thank you so much, Yolokazi, for your time. Just looking at the relevance, let's just cut to the chase of the ANC Youth League, considering what its mandate was supposed to be in representing the plight of young people.
Thank you so much, Cindy, for having me, and good morning to all the listeners of eNCA. So while the relevance of the ANC Youth League in this current political landscape becomes more important, because the involvement of young people in politics, not just in politics, party politics, but politics globally, it's very much important. So we remember on the establishment of the ANC Youth League back then in the 1940s by people of the late like ANCYL, it was very much pivotal for them to actually find their own space and voice in the midst of the current national ANC politics. So even in this particular age, it is very important for young people to be represented in those spaces, but for the young people within the ANC itself to find space and platform to actually view or say their view within to the NEC of the ANC, of the body of the ANC. So it's still very much relevant, but it is quite unfortunate that we're finding the ANC mother body at loggerheads with the ANC Youth League itself. So that also brings the question of its autonomy and its functioning and how young people are seen as in this country of ours, which sometimes it gives me an indication that young people are not seen seriously. Young people are just seen as numbers and stats for our politicians to actually...
And that's exactly the sentiment I was going to say, particularly people that are not in the political fray of any formation, especially in this case, the ANC Youth League. They are not political careerists. They don't have aspirations to ascend to any form of position within the organization. What relevance then does the party have to the wider youth designated group in the country?
Well, Cindy, I do think that young people within the political realms of the ANC Youth League have inspiration to be part of the leadership nationally. You see young people be involved in the ANC Youth League, starting from courses, and they went to the other ranks of the ANC Youth League, joined their other structures, PYA and so forth. So you'd see that those young people are not just donating time, not finding anything else to do, but they have the passion to be activists for young people within political organizations. But unfortunately, we find themselves on the other side to be conveyor belts for their elder leadership, which is unfortunate in this case. But it is important that the space within the ANC is cultivated, and it's actually enabling for young people to actually have voice and have an upward trajectory to ensure that they are represented in parliament, in other structures, provincial and legislatures, to see, for us, people within outside of politics, to see them leading us and actually to see ourselves represented by these young people. So their relevance needs a particular revitalization, and for them to find maybe a common ground and a mission. Because even these challenges that we find now, we find them, they actually take place because young people are not united in the means to the end.
Yes, so this is part of our... I just want to quickly also encourage our viewers on 011-537-9431. Earlier on, we had a call from Stephen Powell, and he says that the ANC Youth League has got no relevance whatsoever because communism has failed anywhere else in the world, and he views the ANC as a communistic party. Your response to that?
Well, I would like to fundamentally disagree with Stevens, because in as much as he assumes that communism has ended, the issues of young people in South Africa currently, they are very much important for them to be attended to when it's necessary by the ANC itself. Because the ANC, it is a governing organization currently, a leading organization in the country. So for us to actually just negate the fact that there is tons and millions of young people following this particular organization, we must be able to actually critique their involvement, critique their actions, particularly actions where they claim to represent young people. So their relevance for young people who are unemployed in this country, their relevance for young people who are destitute in this country, their relevance for the people who are actually looking up to them, assuming that when they are assigned to positions of power, they'll perhaps change the tide and actually deliver the promises that have been made in the Constitution of the Republic.
Yes, but it doesn't mean that the EFF, for example, when Julius Malema was expelled from the ANC Youth League at the time, and any decision that the mother body makes, as you're saying, that the ANC Youth League has struggled with its own autonomy, this has then impacted and hemorrhaged not only the quality leadership from the organization to form other splinter parties. What do we say about the current leadership or even the elective conference going ahead? What do they need to prioritize?
Well, the one thing that I do think that the ANC Youth League currently going to this conference should prioritize is definitely to protect and safeguard its autonomy. So the very same thing that Julius Malema, who's now the leader of EFF, that did back then when we were expelled by the ANC, he was very adamant on maintaining its autonomy so that they are able to think on their own as a think tank for the African National Congress. So this particular conference should not only be an elective for them to be excited about being appointed into this and elected in these positions, but it's very important for them to shape the discourse within the ANC to ensure that going into the next year's elections, probably the ANC can be able to redeem itself through its young people in this country. But unfortunately now, as things transpire in Nasrec, we're not seeing much of that. We're not seeing much of the ideas that are tabled that informs policy on how young people can best be positioned in the country to participate politically, socially, and economically. So now the main thing that we see is the elections, factions, and the fact that the ANC mother body is interfering with the processes of the ANC Youth League, and that also delegitimizes maybe the conference itself. So now we're also seeing now the conference being litigated. That we can foresee that because we've seen Limpopo that they've sent a letter already with the intent to actually litigate the conference if then it goes on and elect leadership. So these challenges have a huge ability to hamper the progress of the ANC Youth League itself, and the long-awaited conference that people have waited for 8 years for can be at some point, we never know, it can be declared as a null and void, and that would be wasteful expenditure, and that taints the picture and the framing of young people in this country.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you indeed for joining us. This is political analyst Yolokazi Mfuto. Of course, this is something or conference that we'll have our eyes very closely on, and she'll also assist in giving analyses throughout the weekend.